Hello. Hi. Uh, me, Quentin, man formerly known as Cubert. Anyways, art grenades. That's what we're doing today. Art grenades. Gotta be done with this shit. Alright, so, arc bolt grenade is the first one we're gonna go over. You throw it, it scans in a 8-meter radius. It will do a strike of lightning to any enemies within that radius, and it can chain up to what, four enemies. So even if they are outside of the radius, if it can hit the first enemy, as long as the other enemies are within a 8-meter radius of the original enemy, this is not going to make any sense to you, and I apologize. Then you will be able to chain this grenade's damage to all other enemies up to 4. Yep, that made no sense. Read the thing at the top and pause if you need some more help. Sorry. Flashbang grenades. Now these get affected by a touch of thunder, which is why I have the dual thingies here. The one on the left is what it does at base, which is it bounces once, and then shortly after bouncing it will explode. It does do a chunk of damage, not a lot of damage, but a good little chunk of damage, and blinds enemies within this radius. Now, while you have touch of thunder, you will blind on the bounce, the initial bounce, and you will also blind on the explosion. I know on the right one you see that they're getting jolted. That is not the grenade. That is the aspect we talked about in the fragment video. And if you're not running Spark of Shock, you are doing it wrong. I think that it should be inherent to the subclass. I'm going to say that on every one of these ARC videos where it's relevant. Moving on. Flux grenade, I hate this thing, but only because it takes like 8 years to actually charge up. Their thought process behind this was to give us a magnetic grenade that had skill that could at least close to one shot in PvP, but well, I think it might actually one shot in PvP. But that had a chunk of damage, like a really big chunk of damage. You could do a lot of damage. I hate this thing because it takes too long to come back, and it feels terrible to actually throw. I would rather have less damage if I can guarantee that damage more often. And this is coming from somebody who plays this game a ton. I have almost no kills with this, solely because I don't want to use something that's going to require this amount of work when I can just throw a arc bolt grenade and have it chained to like 8 enemies and kill most of them. Like, why do I need this much damage? It doesn't make any sense. Moving on. Lightning grenade. This is a favorite of mine in PvP, but not so much in PvE. None of these wall grenades are. But what it does is you throw it on the ground, or you can throw it on a wall, as you see in the right one, and it will pulse out, how many times? 4 times. It does pulse out an additional time if you have Spark of Magnitude, which I went over in the Fragments video. If you have Touch of Thunder activated, you will gain an additional lightning grenade, and the first pulse from the grenade will cause jolt, which I guess you would then think, oh, well, this is the only time where I don't use Spark of Shock, right? You're fucking wrong. And the reason why you still run Spark of Shock, because it's only on the initial hit, and especially in PvE, you're going to want all of the grenade to jolt. Because if I hit this group of enemies with the first one, cool. But what about the next group of enemies that comes next to it? Why don't those guys get shocked? Oh, because I'm not running the fucking mandatory fragment. Okay? Yeah, we're not doing that. Put on Spark of Shock. Every time. Don't make me fight you. Alright, Pulse Grenade. This one also has an augment based off of Touch of Thunder. Um, it's basically just like every other elemental quote-unquote grenade. It is a ball of that element. It pulses. This one pulses multiple times, dealing all of the damage. It is also affected by Spark of Magnitude. Whenever you use Touch of Thunder, then you will create ionic traces as it deals damage, as it pulses for more damage. Those ionic traces work just like every other ionic trace, so it's just a nice way to basically get your grenade back for throwing your grenade, and other abilities as well. Skip grenade. This is the bane of PvP. If ARC hunters are ever really big thing because of a exotic. But anyways, you throw it, and then once it bounces off any surface, it will split into 4 seekers. All of those seekers will track down any enemy that is within X amount of meters of them. And if they can't quite make it fast enough, then it will explode after what, 2-ish seconds. This is really good in PvP mainly because they don't track at the exact same speed all the time. So you'll get hit by one and then get hit by the other, which is good in PvP because it will stop your regeneration for a long time. In PvE though, I'm not doing this shit. Garbage. And they've tried to make it a thing, but it's just not. Too much work. And last on the agenda is storm grenades. The previous meta for like, I don't know, a week or two. Alright, so I'm going to attempt to explain what this does. You throw the grenade makes a lightning strike that comes down, and then it makes another lightning strike that strikes in an X pattern, just a barrage of lightning, okay? It is affected by Spark of Magnitude, which makes it last for like 2 more seconds, I believe. Now, when you have Spark of Thunder, it will roam, so it will chase after enemies. But I think the key thing here is just that it lasts longer. Same rules all apply for the grenade. You want to be running Spark of Shock. You want to be running Spark of Shock. You want to be running Spark of Shock. Also, if you have Touch of Thunder, it will be dealing more damage. But Bungie has nerfed this into the ground because people were using it for boss damage because of Hoyle. Maybe not hurt the grenade and maybe hurt Hoyle instead, but whatever. Yeah, I don't know. No more commentary about that. So that's it. This was a 7-minute video. I'm getting good at this shit. Yeah, Bungie has been doing a really good job of trying to bring up some of these lesser used grenades. I think storm grenades are going to be in a shitty spot because they're cool enough that people will use them anyway, despite the fact that I don't think they're very good, which then leads me to believe they won't get buffed, which then makes me feel like they're going to be kind of slightly below average for a very long time. That's the way I view it. I believe that they are buffing the damage on this by 20%, which, you know, maybe my worries will no longer have to be worries after that, but I'm just not so sure that's going to be enough because of the way it functions. And the buff specifically does not help Touch of Thunder grenades, which means the fuck are we doing here? So, I appreciate you for watching my video, and I'm going to have more of them coming out really soon. That's my plan. So yeah, later.